Today, it's going to be how to change the pinion / spur on your Traxxas UDR. Common problem with these trucks is that when you're running them on 6S, they like to strip the pinion or the spur because it's just too much power. That is quite literally the only thing I've had go wrong with this truck. Other than that, it's been flawless aside from shocks leaking, but I fixed that with a little bit of grease and yeah, it's been pretty solid other than that. So the first thing you're going to do is flip the truck over and take the battery tray out. Alright, once the battery tray is out, you're going to want to take out these screws. Here, 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 here. By the way, these are a 2mm hex. I do recommend to have a little container where you can set screws because some of these are not the same length. I believe there are two in the rear here. That one and that one that are different lengths. Alright, once you got all those bolts out, you want to lift up and slide it back like so to reveal the motor and center transmission. Next thing you're going to want to do is take out these 2mm, one right there. That will reveal your pinion and spur mesh. Once you get those two out, what I have found with these particular trucks is that you need to come in from the bottom of this flange right here and pry a little bit because it's a pretty tight seal. So once you have it popped and you can see through, you just want to wiggle it, give it a little wiggle till it comes off. So one issue that I've personally had with these trucks is these pinions stripping out, or what I find happens most, the set screw will either loosen up or it was never tightened up on the motor shaft itself, so it actually ends up sliding off the motor shaft and then getting about half the connection it needs, and it'll be way out here when I open it up at about 3,000 pieces. So what I recommend to do is take some blue thread lock or any real Loctite. You could use red. You're just gonna have to use a little bit of heat when you get it out. But just take that set screw all the way out. Put a couple threads of put a couple dobs of Loctite on the first couple threads and run it in about halfway or until you can start to see it. Then what you're gonna want to do, slide it back on the motor and tighten it up the rest of the way. And you want to let that sit for about 12 to 24 hours to let that Loctite harden. That's what I've had the most luck with, but I haven't found a permanent fix for this one yet, but at least I can reuse the parts. And what I mean by reuse the parts is this is a hot racing hardened metal pinion that I got off Amazon. I got two of them for like 12 bucks. So pretty inexpensive. But I've had to replace probably 5 spur gears and about 7 pinions. I have a bunch of them in my little trophy drawer here. Boom. Broken. Boom. This one also broken. And then this one's just chewed up, so I don't want to run it. But I got a lot more like that. And it's just a common problem that I've had with this UDR, but the Loctite and the hardened steel is the way to go. So when you put your Loctite on, it should look something like this. It's not going to focus, but you can see the daub of Loctite on there, and then I'm going to run that into the pinion. And now that you got that ran in, you want to make sure you get the shaft of the motor rotated so you get your flat part of the motor shaft where you can easily identify it so that you can position your spur or your pinion on there correctly. So once you get your pinion back on and you got your grub screw on the flat part and everything's driving nice, you just want to torque that bad boy down. So once you got it tightened up, you shouldn't have touched the gear mesh at all because that has motor. It's got a little lining peg on the motor, but it looks like this will sound pretty good and not have too much resistance. The wheels should still spin after you get done with your hand on them. Next thing after that, put this little cover back on like you took it off. And then reinstall the two 2mm screws. Alright, next step after that is just sliding this cover back on. You just want to make sure it's flush right here. There's a little lining tab. And then I would just go around and make sure all the sides are down where they need to be and lined up. Next, reinstall the 7 2mm bolts into their respective holes. After that, you can put all your tools away because all that's left is slide the battery cover back on. And now you've replaced your pinion/spur and your UDR.